I'm choking.
I noticed that. That's what happens when you start searching for a BJ.
The good news. The bad news.
Wait a minute.
And the shit.
I couldn't even do the switching properly, man. I'm sorry. Oh God, man, I'm sorry. You know what?
You know what it is?
Your eyes are watering, right?
Because I'm choking because we're too busy over here. We don't have no groceries.
You know, I realize that.
Man, no juice.
We have.
I got one little pineapple spear left. One little piece.
But I have to say this. I do not want to give out the wrong impression. As we invite more of the women who are entrepreneurs and, great looking women with head on their shoulders, this is an abnormal day. We have food in the refrigerator.
We normally have food.
Yes.
But we got distracted. So, I went in there. There's no juice.
Yeah, I know, man.
It's like one little piece of pineapple.
Yeah, that's it. Good pineapple, though.
Man, so you guys. All right, you guys. First of all, it's Conspiracy Wednesday. Bunch of stuff happening. And a bunch of stuff people have been talking about. Well, we got to ask you this. I got to poll people. Do you trust the health care advice that you're getting? Do you have access to a health care professional to whom you could ask advice and trust the answers that you get? Because obviously a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And one of the glaring examples, Vic, of mistrust of the medical establishment has to do with vaccines. One of the big controversies of the day has to do with things like chickenpox. Well, chickenpox became a vaccine early because some vaccines are easier to develop than others. Right. Yes, it's true that chickenpox did not really represent a deadly disease at that time. Relatively low incidence of complications. Right. More related to people missing work to care for their kids.
That's right.
And those kinds of things. But because they could, the varicella or chickenpox vaccine it's been out there, been used for a number of years. And a lot of consumers actually are concerned with the number of vaccines that their kids get. A lot of times right now, those of you who don't have kids don't know, but when you take your kids for their checkups, many times they're getting 3 to 5 shots. People say, wow.
That's a little extra.
3 to 5 shots. And people say, well, that's too many shots. And people are wondering about the effects. Well, that's where it gets back to the trust issue. Do you or do you not trust the medical establishment when it comes to things like this kind of advice? The example of lack of trust would be the mothers that are now on the internet. People have been doing this, Vic.
Right.
Sharing and passing around chickenpox infected lollipops. They go out and get lollipops. They have their kids with chickenpox suck on the lollipops. Then they wrap them back in plastic, and then they share them and sell them on eBay. And then people have parties. They have chickenpox parties, so that all their kids can. They want to. So this is what's going on. So I just wanted to sort of get a feeling for everybody. What do you guys think? First of all, is the issue that you don't trust your healthcare practitioner who tells you,
right?
Or first of all, do people have someone that they can call and trust?
Well, the number one is that by far and large, the healthcare coverage or what do you get overall is still better than going to what they call the next best or the better alternative. So if somebody's going to say, with all the bad business practices, the cost and everything else, is there a better way to go about your health care? I mean, and a lot of people go with naturals, things of that nature. So here's the question I have. If you make a statement like that, you can't isolate a condition like this. You have to say overall, is it better for you to get hospitalization, traditional coverage, over with the example you just gave me?
Well, that's part of my pet peeve. See, part of my pet peeve is with the healthcare system, because I don't feel like you're getting what you deserve. I'm really trying to be an advocate of the consumer on this level. I really am pissed off at the establishment. That's why I was upset with the Obama health care law, because he was guaranteeing them like $80-some billion.
Right.
I don't want to guarantee Blue Cross a damn thing.
Right.
More or less $80 billion.
Right.
I want them to go out of business.
Right.
So you got to have competition. Mac is saying that the reason why he had to go to Seattle is that he couldn't find any dental health care for seniors in Port Townsend.
Yeah,
he had to pay $300 for a chipped tooth.
Don't you know that? Now, isn't it true? Doesn't the healthcare industry know what the next best ongoing coverage based on your insurance, even though we know it's an abusive organization in business practice, we know that. But what's the best alternative?
Well, there are plenty. I think competition is first of all imperative. Then we'll find out.
Right.
See, by the president doing that, that's my issue. See, he locks in the bad old boys.
Yep.
$80 billion. Shit, guarantee us $1 billion. And see what Pac Stereo does.
Right.
Mac would have a studio in his house. Be right in the spare bed. See, Mac will get that apartment next door to you.
Right.
And we'll run your station from there.
That's wrong.
I'm just saying, yeah, I can dream.
Yeah.
I can dream. But that's my point, you guys. Well, first of all, I think it's a statement of fact that people don't have people they can call and trust and get advice. That's why they do these things.
Yeah.
They don't trust the medical establishment. Even though, let's deal with this issue because I brought this up to some people of mine. So I said, you get upset because your kid gets 5 shots when you take them to the doctor. Oh, yeah, it's terrible. What if they rolled them all into one shot? Would that be a problem?
Yeah.
And the people, they get quiet.
They got to think.
And so I said, so it's not the vaccine you have an issue with. It's the number of shots.
Yes.
Because part of the reason why they keep the vaccine separate is so you can chart reactions.
Yeah.
They can't mix everything in one vial. But one day, if they could mix 1,000 vaccines in one shot,
right,
and it's one shot, would you care?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just like Mario, how long did it take for you to understand all the shots you were getting, and at what age did it become consciously aware that you said, I wonder what's in that needle that's going versus?
Never happened. I hated shots growing up.
See? So
now later on, as I got into my other profession, I became one hell of a good person with a needle. You know, like to say, 18 gauge needle and a good little bit of pressure, you can hit any body cavity you want.
Right. Now, Mario, isn't it true? Depending on what situation,
body cavity.
If you're in pain somewhere and they go like, give me shot, give me the shot. If you're in extreme pain, if you're isolated in some place out in the woods, the mountain area, and they go like, "Hey, we got a doctor here. Aren't you happy?"
Oh, exactly.
See, so this is the condition.
Exactly, you're exactly right. Because I had one New Year's Eve, I had a toothache.
I remember I was with you.
Yeah, I made an emergency appointment for the dentist for 7 a.m. on New Year's Day. I was there at 6:15.
Wait,
I couldn't wait for that shot.
Where was we?
When he got out the needle to inject that painkiller, I was like, oh. And when they just numbed it up, I was like, oh, Lord, thank you.
And where were we? We were in line at Savon's or someplace else. We were trying. I was going like this. Give that man something. Give him some Bacardi. Whatever you could. Give him something, goddammit. You didn't matter. It didn't matter. I think it's all based on the condition. And I think it's based on the condition of choice when it's comfortable. I said, but put yourself in that position when all of a sudden you're going like this. I need help. Who you going to go to? You going to go online and see if you can call somebody who has some vegan food?
You know, that's why I feel bad with people with tooth pain. You know, I feel bad about all this. This is why I think healthcare is so important. And if you don't, you know, teeth actually can lead to other problems with your heart.
Right.
Other issues. Really bad dental can really go on to a bunch of things.
Yeah.
So, you know, well, please talk about the flu shot. That's another one. Y'all want to talk about the next? Let me know when y'all want to talk about the flu shot. Okay, we can do flu shot, but that's such a deep controversy of itself.
Yeah.
So anyway, we raised the issue about health care. I also will point out once again that with the government spending $669 billion in defense in 2010, that's why you ain't got none.
That's true.
Because that's where the money went.
Thank you.
All right, topic number 2. Foreign press says that the same U.S. liars are targeting Iraq, and they're questioning, is an attack imminent? Wow. You know, you've been hearing a lot of talk, you guys. And, you know, sometimes they get on these, you know, okay, first of all, I hate to say it. I hate to sound bad, but to me, whenever it's close to election times, the presidents like to huff out, get their chests all out, and look all macho and defense-minded. It's a bunch of bullshit to me. But that's why they try to do all these military actions and look strong. They got to be strong around the time of the election. Now, it's not bad enough. Part of the conspiracy is that the president has no competition.
I like this. He's got to answer the phone.
No, I just turned it. The president, that's the president calling right now. But the president has no competition. Let me see.
Wait a minute. That's the
Sure
president calling.
Nah,
and
you
I'm
wait.
going to keep doing my show.
I put him on line behind Condoleezza. Y'all wait. Shit. Now, I'm saying the part of the conspiracy that's out there is that you have a relative lack of candidates even running against the president of any credibility. My God, when Newt Gingrich goes from 3% to 20%, that's because people don't even know who to vote for. So the president, part of the conspiracy is that, isn't it just like with Clinton, where you had the Republican competition sort of unraveled right in front of you? There is no candidate.
Right.
Isn't that terrible, you guys? All the president has to do is be better than the Republican candidates, and they're looking like shit.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys, that Rick Perry, okay, Mac did a piece on it, can't remember shit. That's what Mac, so, okay. But they say that the president and other folks are getting ready to attack Iran. Now, you can't have a nuclear war in this area because you're going to poison all the oil.
Right.
And also, you can't blow up one spot without effect. You set off a bomb and you're going to get Israel, Lebanon, Syria, Egypt. You'll get all of them.
That's right.
Be poisoned.
Yes.
You can't mess up with the water. They share so much ecology, okay, that these people are bound together. And what we're really now, and remember politically, mostly, I don't deal with. There's certain things that are just hard to deal with at this point in time in this day. We want peace. We want peace. But is it true, you guys? Do you think the U.S. is getting ready to attack Iran?
And what's the motive? What is the
well? The
real
motive being pushed out there is that Iran is developing a nuclear weapon, and maybe this is the evil that we should step forward. Now, remember, we covered the Iranian protests where people were out in the street trying to get freedom, and we were moved by the masses of individuals. Now, so these are the same folks we're going to bomb.
Right. Yeah.
Let's take a look at what they have on RT.com, because they have a piece. I'm looking at the stuff from today.
All right.
Here's a piece that's talking about North Korea and Iran. Is there an evil nuclear fusion? So they're talking about it. Let's see if I can get a video about it, though, you guys, about Iran.
Let me ask you something. And while you're going through that, say if Norway, Sweden, let's say Argentina, if we're developing nuclear, not weaponry, but we want to use it with the alternatives of having weapons, energy, and all that. And it came from those countries. Is it really the dictatorship that constitutes the intervention, or just developing nuclear weapons? Which one takes precedent? Because some countries develop,
well, it depends on who you are, right?
Right. Some countries develop and say and spread their chest, like what, North Korea?
Yeah, because I'm kind of nervous about U.S. having nuclear weapons.
So,
we're the ones who used them on people.
Right. And if you ever want to go and see the footage, if you have not, and get the story documentation of what happened as far as the civilian losses. I just watched a show day before yesterday, them interviewing a couple of survivors. Of course, this is probably a few years ago when they interviewed them. What happened when they were looking at these people? They described exactly what happened from flash to people walking. It was like The Walking Dead with skin peeling off. They didn't know where it came from. They didn't know. Taking you through the progressions of the stories makes you stop and say, well, how bad can it be? Potential versus what we've already done.
Exactly. Now, remember this, and stop and think for a minute, you guys. We detonated 2 nuclear devices over civilian targets. We knew it was civilians.
That's right.
Let me say that again. We chose to detonate.
That's right.
2 nuclear devices over civilian targets, like New York City.
Yeah.
So we knew we were killing women and children and old folks.
And
we did too.
Yeah. And let me add something to this. Just so you know the position of the Japanese. Those who were part of the cabinet relative to our Congress, whatever, were in the room with Hirohito, the premier.
Right.
And 99% of them said, we would rather die first than to surrender, which meant when they said we, it didn't mean we, the military. It was representing all its people. So when you look at it that way and listening to the admissions of their position, how distraught, how bad they felt about having to give in and sign surrender, in front of General MacArthur, the whole thing. I stop and say, now imagine if that didn't happen. This place, although we may be penalizing that we used it first, this place was taking their people down the pathway of saying, we would all rather die. And we're making the decision that you die in honor of what we believe in. So somewhere along there, until you get the front, the middle, and the backstory, this country was willing to do this while fighting Russia. While they were willing to do whatever it takes. And when you hear them, we're talking about the politicians who were in the room. And I was stuck and I was going,
well, the politician's never going to die. You know what? See, traditionally, think about, you guys, realize this. When only the U.S. of late has been executing the people who ran the leadership of the enemies.
Right.
Traditionally are never executed. World War II.
Right.
Russia, Japan. Was anybody executed?
That's what I'm saying.
When they lost? Hell no. In fact, they go back to the castle.
Right.
The emperor went back to the imperial. He was, like I said, like we talked about how that house arrest shit.
Right.
Like he was house arrested back to the imperial palace.
Right.
So only lately do we execute the leadership of our enemies, mainly, in my opinion, because we don't want them to talk. You have to kill Saddam Hussein because you can't have him testify.
Right.
You can't have him sit on a stand and talk about what the U.S. did. You can't have Gaddafi arrested because you can't have him sit on a stand and talk about what the U.S. did. That's why they have to die. Right. That's why they never get caught and captured and brought to trial.
But
because they can't allow that. They can't allow them to speak.
So here's the part that's taking place. It doesn't matter. The condition of the leadership is willing to say, in the best interest of the country, our folks, our people, will be recruited to go on the front lines. If not, you still represent this empire. So it's accepted that some or many of you will die. So in the end, they said, at what point is there ever a condition where nuclear weaponry is desirable and needs to be used? Are we away from that?
It's desirable if you want to keep the U.S. off your ass. See, that's what the take-home lesson is. See, to me, this is what the take-home lesson is, all the way from the suburbs to the ghetto.
Right.
It says, like the guy says, he says, a lot of people respect a uniform. Everybody respects a gun.
Yep, that's right.
That's the bottom line. A bunch of people respect a uniform.
Right.
Everybody respects a gun.
Right.
So if you don't want people messing with you,
right,
you better get you a big ass gun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the part that's happening, if a city gets bombed and they get bombed by traditional missiles and weapons, and it's taking out plots of people at hundreds. And then you have a bomb that comes and takes out many and thousands. And remember, if you go back to Germany, they had the super gun. And that super gun was built to take out more massive casualties, death or otherwise. So isn't it always the condition that there are always bigger bombs coming, but it's the collateral damage? Well, and with nuclear weapons, we're talking about environment, we're talking about things that we're doing to the earth, the planet, and all that. It's all collateral along with it.
Well, that's why a lot of the newer technology goes into just killing the people and leaving the structure.
Yeah.
See, you want a bomb that just makes the people fall out and die, but leaves all the building, the car. You can just come in and clean up all the stuff.
That's right.
That's right. And have all the stuff. So that's where it's actually going.
You need an inception.
Well, okay, you guys, the whole Syrian Arab League suspension, let's deal with that quickly. Syria suspended from the Arab League because of the ongoing civil rights issues in their own country.
Right.
What does this mean? Well, a lot of people are talking about it because it's amazing who does what,
right,
who's involved, who votes for or against.
Right.
We won't deal with that too much today because, as it turns out, we get these other stories I kind of want to go to. But we will bring out that we'll talk a little bit next week about why and who is against Syria in this issue, what is going to be done, big human rights issues in Syria. Everybody knows about it.
Right.
And how do we deal with this? Is this another reason or excuse to attack another nation? Not denying that you have abuses.
Right.
But notice how these can be used as a reason for, entering your country. Mm-hmm. We'll also deal with next week the U.S. now putting more drones all around Africa. Remember, we have 7,000 drones admittedly. We said, if they admitted it's 7, it's 15,000.
Yeah.
7,000 drones in Afghanistan.
Right.
Now, we also told you that drones are coming here to the U.S. to be used to watch the borders.
Right.
Even though we made the point that watching doesn't do shit.
Right.
Imagine you got the drones watching the border. Mm-hmm. Well, you can't shoot the damn immigrants. You're not going to blow them up and think, "Paya, I got one." You're not going to blow them up. So if you don't have anybody over there, what are you going to call? You going to watch them with the drone and get on the phone? Hello, Officer Tipson? Yeah, down there. And you got some people running over the fence. Just want to let you know, this is drone control. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's on Facebook. Yeah. Okay.
You're wrong, man.
I'm just saying what you're gonna do.
Those drones can identify people. They found the Black Panthers. Oh, they didn't have drones back then, did they?
No, they had Ron Karinga. No, excuse me. Uh-oh, let's talk.
I'm leaving that one alone. I'm leaving that alone.
They're gonna go. I was gonna say, well, what are you trying to say? All right, you guys. Now let's go to some of the. I got to get to some of the controversial.
I thought you just okay.
Well, we got some controversial video first.
What was this?
I got these other controversies that's more controversial. Good.
Okay, all right.
How about this one, you guys? As you know, we mentioned even earlier this week, you had your first glimpses into the Fukushima. Now they're calling it the Fukushima graveyard.
Right.
Where they finally let the press in. Now I want you to know they called us up. They said, Mario, Victor, it was you and Compton Radio.
That's wrong.
Y'all can be first. And we try to get Mac on the phone. That Mac McAllister guy. We're going to get that Mac McAllister, PMC, and Pack Stereo. Y'all can go first into the Fukushima plant. Did they call you PMC? They called PMC. They called up Mac and said, Mac, they sent in the bus for you. You come take us to Fukushima.
Right.
But we were busy, so we didn't go.
That's wrong.
Now, by the way, I have said this on other conspiracy shows. We don't have the old radiation suit thing down yet.
No.
I mean, I thought from all the shows I'm watching, you could put on the whole suit and nothing gets inside. Yeah. No bacteria, nothing. But here we have radiation.
Right.
And take a look at these suits they got these Japanese folks in.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about y'all. I don't see a helmet. I see a mask, a paper mask.
Right.
Now, what the hell? And look at this person down here. He got on gym shoes. He got like a gym socks, gym shoes down here.
You're doing it for the love of country.
I'm saying, so this is what they give these folks to go into a radioactive plant.
That's right.
That looks like the outfits they offered Mac and us. See, PMC me. They said we're gonna give you some Nike, workout gear, and y'all go on in here and check it out.
Y'all wrong.
That's what Mac PMC said. What is the goddamn space suits? Well, let's take a look, you guys. Let's take a look. Let's not be. That's the Fukushima graveyard. Now, thank you, RT, because so that's what you get. They write on some shit on your chest when you look at this, you guys. That's going in there. I think we can call it a meltdown now. These are some honorable folks, but they getting pimped. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. Look at that. Now, how's that going to protect you from radiation? That doesn't look like the radiation clothing that I'm thinking of, you guys. I'm not. Are you? Is it just me? But I'm saying, if you have all this radiation, where is the protection?
Well, the protection comes from the faith.
Faith.
And the good thing that you're doing.
Jesus.
The right thing.
Jesus told me, don't take my ass over there.
And I think these people already said, we were exposed when this started. Damage probably already done. Just give me the suit. Let me walk on in. Because it's much worse than you think when you listen to the reports. So at this point right now, these are believers, Mario. They believe in their job. It's being on the front lines.
I want to know, just because I have my own impressions. I want to know how many of our chat room are believers. I want to know. I need a fuzzy moment here. Mac, PMC, these are wonderful, dedicated American citizens.
We live all around nuclear plants, and we accept the conditions of what they tell us. And didn't we have a recent kind of stir up with one around in our area? And it's nothing went leaked out. And what about the European leak that they can't identify? The one that happened last week, where it says there's some reports that there's a certain amount of radiation, but they don't know where it came from yet. And I still haven't heard what the latest findings are.
That's your ass.
See, so what hey.
There's something in the mist.
That's what.
There's something in the mist. It got Carter. It got Carter.
See? Here's the part,
something in the mist.
Here's the part that gets you. You're so busy worried about Occupy Wall Street that there's things getting by you that don't have the same weight in the topics and the headlines. Mm-hmm. I'm waiting for the Europe wind blow stats based on what they reported last week, and nobody even is covering
all that radiation. It's going to be in your water.
It's there.
It's going to be in the water. All right. So, again, it's Conspiracy Wednesday. We've been dealing with conspiracies. We talked about healthcare conspiracies. U.S. attacking Iraq. Is it imminent? Boy, the Syrian Arab League suspension. U.S. militarizing Iran's neighbors. Now, let's get to the Occupy Wall Street. Got to give you an update, you guys. So we went to RT.com to get you something that's actually from today. If you go to YouTube, you can actually search Occupy Wall Street and then have it kind of pull its stuff up. And then you could actually sort of sort it all together. Where's the video here?
Well, that's familiar.
Oh, look at this. Look at this old lady they got. This little old lady got hit.
But she's elderly and pregnant? Is that two separate people, or is the elderly woman pregnant?
No, okay. Well, I don't. Boy.
You didn't give a clear.
I couldn't tell, man. I'm just stunned. I'm just stunned. So
what does it look like? Okay, I can't see the clarity, man.
I know. Let's go get. Okay, that one. It was just pictures. I'm trying to get you an actual video, though.
All right.
But what the pictures were showing you guys, and it's not real clear. It's just about. Up there at Occupy Wall Street,
right
in Oakland.
Yeah.
Just issues that were coming, and some of the elderly people who are getting caught up. Here's what's going on. Let's take a look. New York, wow.
And we continue to follow breaking news out of New York right now. This is where a judge had just ruled that protesters can return to Zuccotti Park, but cannot camp out there. RT's Marina Portnaya has been following this story. She joins us now from our studio in New York with the latest. Marina, what is the latest out of New York?
Well, Liz, this is probably being perceived as a significant blow to the Occupy Wall Street movement. I was down there all day. I spent about at least 5 hours down there in the aftermath of the police raid, and I can tell you that the Occupy activists, the supporters, they really genuinely believe that the judge was ultimately going to rule on their behalf and that they would be allowed back into the park with their tents, with their tarps, with their sleeping bags. They really thought that that would be the ultimate conclusion. And as we found out within the past half hour, and as we are reporting, a judge delivered a final ruling against the Occupy protesters in terms of the fact that they are no longer allowed to bring their property in there, to set up camp there. And this is a sort of a position New York City took. New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg put his foot down and said that
he's a billionaire,
will
right?
no longer be used as a campground. And
Bloomberg's a billionaire.
When this happened, after it was evacuated, after the raid took place, and 200 people were arrested, many injured. The camp, ironically, the park has been occupied for the past 10 hours, if not more, by police officers. This scene has literally been turned upside down. There's barricades all around Zuccotti Park to keep the protesters out, and inside the clean park are dozens of protesters dressed in riot gear and also what we believe are private security officials.
What
I was
are those?
asking them, they were wearing orange vests, and I was asking them who they were with sanitation, and they wouldn't answer me.
CIA.
They believe that they're a private security firm hired by the property owners. But what this means for the movement and for the activists is that when they return to Zuccotti Park, it's going to be extremely uncomfortable. It's not going to be the community that they have grown used to for the past 8 weeks. There's not going to be tents to protect them from the cold winds that will soon be approaching New York City this winter. The sleeping bags won't protect them. The tarps won't keep them hidden from pouring rain or snow. It is going to make the occupation extremely difficult for them, and that's what the activists believe that ultimately New York City officials want to do. They want to Occupy activists believe that this is purposefully being done to break apart their growing movement. That New York City Michael Bloomberg wants to make the area so inconvenient for them that they will just give up. But those that I spoke with say that each time the cops come down on them, each time they believe that there's a case of police brutality, it just gives them more inspiration. Occupy activists say they receive more support, and they believe that come Thursday when they officially mark their 2-month anniversary of the Occupy movement, that there's going to be bigger demonstrations and louder demonstrations. And we should remind our viewers that one of the demonstrations includes the efforts of Occupy Wall Street to attempt to shut down the New York Stock Exchange. Clearly, that is not an activity that will go unnoticed. So we can expect that the story is not over, but clearly the story is changing now that the environment of the Occupy Wall Street protesters, the headquarters down by Wall Street, has been rearranged.
And Marina, we are just getting this news that the judge is not allowing them back into to Zuccotti Park. What kind of response are you getting? Is there a sense that protesters are going to comply with that order, or are they going to try to reoccupy Zuccotti Park?
You're getting news that they're not allowed back in the park at all, Liz?
That the judge sent that order that ordering them
with
that with
right?
the tents.
Wow, you see, this is developing.
Yeah, exactly. Is there, sorry about
breaking
that confusion.
news.
Is there a sense that they will comply with that, or will they continue to try to occupy that area with their tents?
I asked that question to one person in particular because he was already convinced that the judge was going to rule in favor, or had ruled in favor already, of the Occupy movement. And I said, well, listen, nothing has been confirmed yet. What if the judge does not side with the protesters? What if the judge sides with New York City and you are not allowed to return with tents and sleeping bags and tarps? What will you do then? He goes, we'll find a way to get them back in. We will find a way to get them back in because this is a public park and we should be allowed to demonstrate however we want to. So I do think there will be some people that will try to set up camp the way it has been for the past 8 weeks, but they will be met with opposition by uniformed personnel.
Well, it will be interesting to see how this all plays out. That was RT correspondent Marina Portanaya with the latest.
Now, that's again right from this morning, you guys. What's so good about the online is that we're able to get really breaking news right away and get things where people, right now, what's going on. And especially at RT.com, they have it listed as such, today's breaking news, things like this. Wow, Vic.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we're not being able to identify heavily, even though we know, there's a certain treatment coming down across the board in the U.S. for the occupiers. There's a certain what they call not hard legal, prominence of let's just get them away. Let's make it as inconvenient as possible. And it seems like everybody's taking that on up, that they're stepping it up more and more to inconvenience them. So in the end, this is ongoing. I think whatever happens, somebody's going to be put on front zones. Somebody who's chief of police, the mayor, the governor, somebody's going to wrap a face on that side. And if they make a story out of it, it could either gain steam, or who's going to be the front face of saying, I'm stepping up front. This is for our people. This is to protect the citizens, the businesses who are all being affected by this. Somebody's going to cover the story in such a way that it maybe goes to the next level. And I still think the occupiers have more options and alternatives. They just have more dynamics in their holster. But I want to know how bad it's going to get, because the shooting is already taking place, and it seems like it hasn't affected anyone. The Oakland shooting, what we saw last week, what you showed, I said, you noticed that it didn't take on the sting.
Well, as we know from other situations that have occurred in the past, people die.
Yeah.
And actually, in the past, a lot of people have died in these kinds of things.
That's right.
So we know that it's an evolving story. We promise you to continue to be there, to continue to follow this story, these developments, for as long as it takes, because we feel that is our role as a community resource here at Paxdale TV.
Yes,
wow.
sir.
You guys,
What?
this has been the good news, the bad news, and the other shit. Not necessarily that order, not necessarily in those amounts. The good news, the bad news, and the other shit.